Hola and bienvenidos everybody. My name is NittPicc. If you don't know who I am a flutist and a music educator who enjoys all types of music. Now, I chose this reaction suggestion in particular because it is a video game. I'm a huge gamer. Love playing video games on my free time, which I don't have a lot of it, so I really appreciate it when I get to play. Now, this is actually from a game that I've had some interest in playing, and recently my favorite YouTube gamers, the Game Grumps, not to drop a channel or anything in here, but I love them a lot. They recently uploaded one video of them playing Disco Elysium, and I noticed the gameplay is very similar to that of like Baldur's Gate. It's all skill checks and there's a lot of dialogue, a lot of textual kind of stuff. So that's really all I got from that so far. And you're a detective. And I love crime, love true crime. So like a little bit interested in this. So other than that, I found out that there's music to this game because a friend of the YouTube channel and the Discord sent this to me. And now I'm curious. So today we are checking out the song Instrument of Surrender, and I think the artist who created the music is called Sea Power. So I'm excited to check this out. But before we jump in, if you like the channel, please like and subscribe. If you want to check out more, there's some links down in the description below for my Discord, as well as my Patreon, where you can check out extra content as well as some free content. But let's jump right into this. It's so simple. Hold on, we've entered a new moment. Okay, now, I'm going to say this, but I'm saying this more with love than anything else. The opening, we get this kind of, how do I explain? Not necessarily ethereal. It's very, well, we could use that phrase, maybe pensive. It's like, I don't know if anyone's going to relate to this at all, but it's kind of like the white noise inside your brain when no thought is happening. So I don't know if anyone does any kind of like meditation or whatever, but there's a misconception that meditation is supposed to be where no thoughts happen in the brain and it's supposed to be completely silent. To me, this is kind of what meditation feels like to me. There's a constant nagging thought that keeps coming back and back and back, and it just doesn't leave. But at some point, that nagging thought is going to serve its purpose and then leave. And what's kind of funny is I'm not sure if it's a trumpet. I'm actually not even sure if it's, I wanted to think, I was like, it's a trumpet, but it might be a French horn. But then my thoughts are, is it a flugelhorn? So the difference between a flugelhorn and a trumpet, and correct me if I'm wrong, brass players out there, going along the lines of sound, so flugelhorn has more of a mellow tone to it. A lot of the times you tend to hear flugelhorn in like jazz. There's a lot of flugelhorn in jazz, but there's also trumpet in jazz. I'm not saying that either or can exist in the same place, but flugelhorn has a mellower sound, trumpet's a little more brighter and can be much louder, but flugelhorn has that like kind of like smooth, chocolatey kind of sound to it, and can maybe give more of a sense of sorrow. Anytime I hear flugelhorn, I feel like I'm in a more thoughtful moment in my life. For what it's worth, like listening to the opening of this, I imagine myself like in a bar, swirling around a tall, short glass of scotch, smoking on a cigarette. I'm not a smoker. I'm just saying that don't smoke, kids. Don't smoke. Adults, don't smoke. If you smoke, try and quit. But I'm not judging you. Still love you. But that's kind of what's going on in my head here. And either way, that's the difference of tonality that I'm hearing. I might skip ahead a little bit, but I want you to hear. We start with this electronic sound. It's kind of like pressing start on an old school cassette tape player and hearing that. And then all of a sudden, but we get its tone. It's a tone. It's a drone. Let's put it that way. So we have a pedal tone. Let's call it that. Music terms, that is constantly going through the beginning. And then we get the motif, the constant thought that is going through our mind, which is the mellophone. Flugelhorn, could be a mellophone. Flugelhorn line. So here's my nagging thought, right? And then the cello comes in. That's a cello. And I want you to notice how there's small chimes in the background. And we get some like gong maybe, but it's pitched. And not saying that there is a difference between pitched percussion and non-pitched percussion. Let's not get into it today. But there's echo pitch in the background that creates another bass tone that echoes, but then it goes away. But I want you to notice that even though this might feel uncomfortable, because that's kind of how it makes me feel. I'm uncomfortable, but I'm not fully uncomfortable. It feels somewhat, I hate to reuse the word comfortable. It's not uncomfortable because the cello is playing within the pitches that the flugelhorn maybe is playing. So that's what I'm hearing. I think that's keys, piano. Yes, that is the lower part of the keyboard. And even though there might be a moment of dissonance, it goes away. There's some sort of resolution to that. It's so simple. Honestly, this is what my thoughts are like at night. It's quite majestic, really, even though it's repetitive. It's crazy how it's just so repetitive, but it doesn't bother me that it is. It does not bother me. For the sake of time, I am going to move forward a little bit, just because there's something that happened that was different. The intrusive thought has returned. Okay, 3 minutes 27. I gotta remember that. So this is interesting because, again, we kind of get this whole repeated motif, right? But with a different instrument this time. It's kind of like saying that in the opening we had that flugelhorn repeating its intrusive, frustrating thought, and then it kind of phases itself out, even though the cello, the other thought, wants to float up to the consciousness, right? The cello starts to take over consciousness over here. And we still get the singular notes, but now we're getting a cello melody. And I want you to notice there's glissandi. There's also a lot of simple, not like, it feels like major second dissonance, not minor second dissonance. Minor second dissonance can feel extremely crunchy. Major second dissonance can feel a little more, it can feel uncomfortable, but it's almost a little more tasteful, and that's what I'm hearing in this section. So now, and it's actually quite lovely melody. So the cello has now become the highest form of consciousness in my meditative moment. Man, someone must be going through something to have this in their mind. Now listen how it's also getting pulsingly louder, and it's pushing more sound, almost from the back of my head to the front of my brain. And the trumpet has come, or flugelhorn has come back. We have rhythm, a little bit of a drive. Triplets in the back. Whoa. Did you hear how much tension there was? But it almost feels hopeful. Even though it feels sad, it feels hopeless, yet hopeful in the long run. There's just so much build in that tension, and there's like triplets moving on in the background. Sorry, the light bulb clicked off for a moment. And there was some rhythm, it felt like progress. And I'm wondering if it's going to die away, as if maybe I'm done with the meditation, or I've maybe need another meditative session. But that flugelhorn motif comes back. It's like the intrusive thought came back, like I said earlier. Bum, bum, bum. You can hear it ever so slightly in the background. And it's so dissonant. And that listen to this hopefulness. Woo! Listen to that brass. a few gongs going off in the background. So notice how it's dying away. It's getting softer. It's losing momentum in sound. That's the dissonance. Is this... I'm almost speechless because of how this piece works around. There was a track going on underneath that raised in volume that you almost virtually can't hear. And that's the dissonance I was hearing. And that's what faded out at the end. It almost felt like that was the hope. It was in a more happier sounding key and tonality. To me, I'm making no sense right now, but it's beautiful. It's almost Charles Ives if he decided to write with a plan. Actually, he had a plan. It just felt like sometimes he only had a pla. If you know that joke, it's from Friends. But it's, oh, this was beautiful. It's such a cool concept. There's dissonance, there's motifs, there's different instruments getting the spotlight, and then there's momentum, and then they remove the momentum. That's a raw. Yes. I think I've talked about everything I've wanted to talk about, but yeah, this is really cool. Now I'm interested in playing Disco Elysium more than I thought. Wow. I'm going to be humming that melodic line that I heard for days. It's a good line. I don't know why. It's an earworm. Anyway, as usual, what I like to do is continue the conversation about music. So have you played Disco Elysium, and have you dove into the original soundtrack at all? And what is your favorite track from the game? Is there a specific thing that you associate with this track in the game? And what do you think I missed? What else would you like to talk about in this piece? Because that's what I want to do here. Continue the conversation about music. I'm not the only person who has ears and can hear everything. I want to hear what you guys hear. So anyway, before I leave, if you like the channel, please like and subscribe. It just helps the channel grow. And if you want more, there's some links down in the description below for my Discord, as well as my Patreon, where you can check out extra content, as well as some free content that just generally, you know, YouTube blocks some stuff, so I put it over there, or opacity thing. You know the drill. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.